Hello there! I'm successfully lost, and I'm that silly noob in the video games world. So, I was super smart to choose Fallout 2 as the first game to enter the world of video games. So, perhaps now, knowing how the Fallout 2 works, I would probably reconsider that decision now, but only due to the fact that there is Fallout 1. Who would have figured? And Fallout 1 gives you actually quite a lot of knowledge that you can later use in Fallout 2, and I would have less annoying time in between if I would know the knowledge from there. But still. Despite that, I've played Fallout 2 and I managed to drag myself to the end. So I will tell here everything I think of this entire Fallout 2 journey. So, Fallout 2, in my mind, um, I thought I'm heading for a lovely short video game that will entertain me for, a couple of hours, not knowing exactly what I'm heading for. Um, but in the end, it turned out it's gonna be a few months odyssey, so I didn't expect that. So that was a surprise element for sure. And the second thing, I never imagined as possible for me that I would be sucked into the game, like really sucked into the game. So at first, this game somehow pretends to be a very simple one mission oriented game, but then slowly as you go on with the game, there are many super exciting side missions that push their way in, and that's where you can get lost a little bit. You can get distracted, you can drift away from the main goal, and it's actually quite a lot of hard work. So I did my share of work there. But the main goal is actually to help your tribe overcome the severe drought that is somehow threatening my tribe, so your tribe, to extinct. And you are being the chosen one. And by that, you are the one who needs to find some sort of toolkit that will increase the water production called the GEC. So yes, this is the main frame, this is your story, this is what you need to do. But on the way to your goal, you can decide to be a good person and help everyone, like be a good Samaritan, or you can become a slaver, a very bad person by the way, or a mobster, or a drug dealer, or just simply, a murderer that doesn't pick his victim. So, all this can happen. But until you reach the point of possessing the GEC and, returning to your tribal village that is called Arroyo, there is also a time pressure. The clock is ticking constantly, and you are reminded of that. And once you get there, you realize that the time pressure wears off, and you can feel free to do everything you wanted to do in between, but you were rushing through because there was a time pressure. So, whew, I felt very relieved when the time pressure was off, but that also consequently prolonged the playing for me. Well, at least for me. I don't know how everyone else did it, but I think it made the game at least double the time long for me. Anyway, it's actually quite funny. Since I almost completely stopped watching series, and I was a very good successful binge watcher before, I stopped watching series. I don't watch many movies anymore since I started streaming. So I felt, the drive to go and play this game over and over until I was actually done. And yes, I did it. I played it till the end. And yeah, as I already mentioned it, this game has set me on some sort of, emotional roller coaster. That's what it did for me. So it has sent me on a journey of the whole specter of emotions. So, at first, especially at first, but not only at first, it belittled me. I felt so small, slightly dumb maybe at times, because I didn't get it, what I need to do, so I mostly run and hide. But at the times, it also praised me, It actually said, you are super cool at combat and you're really good. And it made me laugh. And yes, it nearly made me cry in the end. because I killed all my friends and the ending wasn't, well, I expected a happy ending despite the fact that, I mean, it's a game, right? No. Well, the end was ruthless and way too realistic. I expected something nice, but, even there was no happy ending in the end, it was good once I accepted it, because I was the co-creator. So yeah. Oh, and every time I started feeling relaxed in the game, I got this, I can do this. Well, the game suddenly decided to pop in a little surprise and to smack me down to the ground with all its might, just to prove me, no, you don't have this yet. Work harder. So yeah, it tests you many, many times. So I do appreciate the element of surprise though, because in this way, it makes the game less predictable, and I think that's one of the main elements I really enjoyed. So that's definitely one of the qualities of the game. But I also like being, as I already mentioned, being co-creator of the story, I decided what is going to happen and you co-create and help create the ending of the story. So I think that's the biggest difference between passively watching a series or a movie in comparison to decide upon the course of the story. So I think that's the real thing that got me, And being active and solving the problems and tasks, well, that can also lead, I think there's the problem, that can also lead to you feeling that you've accomplished something, So the falseness of this feeling is in that in actual world, well, you haven't achieved anything for real. So as long as you know that and you're aware of that, that's fine. But I can see the problematic of this, so especially by those who do not pay attention to this, and they start perceiving the game world or the achievements of the game as equal to the real world. So I'm not trying to be clever here, but what I'm trying to say is that I can see the potential of the game sucking you in too far. Especially, the game world sucking you in too far, and you can forget about the reality. But going back to the fun stuff. So, I've noticed in the end that I actually have developed gradually as a character. So, being a, tiny, awkward, scaredy pie at the beginning who is afraid of giant ants and, red gods and stuff like that, being constantly damsel in distress, I think I was that for half of the game. And I was hiding behind Sulik or any other guy that I had with me, my companion. Later, I've developed to a less lousy gang leader, I think, who was actually no longer afraid to encounter a pack of mantises, for instance. Yeah, I wasn't afraid of mantises anymore. But yeah, a great deal in this was the fact that I got my hands on more money, because the more tasks you solve, the more money you get, and you're not poor anymore, as I was in the beginning, which I hated, by the way, and which enabled me to have better weapons, better armors. Yeah, that basically developed character with you, and also experiences, because you really do get experiences by encountering different things. So seriously, to my great astonishment, I actually really enjoyed playing this game. Yeah, partially also because it irritated me, funny, huh? And tested me at times. I hated it, but I also liked it. So it was love-hate relationship at the times. And for sure, it wasn't what I had expected at the beginning, At the beginning, I gave myself, a couple of hours of testing it, I will play it for an hour or two just to confirm my prejudice of video game world. Like, I imagine video games that this is something called a waste of time, doing something when you don't know what to do else, or you have nothing better to do. And then I also thought, I will hate it, and we'll call it a day, like confirm all of it and say goodbye to my short video game expedition. But instead, I played it for hours and hours, waiting to do the quests and wanting to see, so what's in the Broken Hills, or why are Brotherhood of Steel so special, and who the hell are Brotherhood of Steel, And I was deeply appealed by the voice that sounded like, I don't know, a weird turkey. And later I realized, well, it's not a turkey, it was an alien, close enough. A land alien with legs and stuff. So I was kind of disappointed. I hoped it would be a giant radiated bird, but it was, well, aliens. Ooh, and I have to give credits to the creators of the game. They sure put their imagination on free run when they were creating the creatures that were attacking me. Yep, they did it. So the game got me mad many times. As I said, it tested me. Especially, it tested how low I am willing to go. So my moral compass was tested very often. So, and it tested me how fast can I run in front of fire geckos. Well, I can tell you right now, not fast enough. So I died many times and reloaded, but I managed. Well, it did give me a warm, fuzzy feeling when I achieved something, when I did something, finally something good. So yeah, it was bouncing me around in emotions. So I think that's very good, because then you cannot get bored and you cannot be indifferent to it. So, okay, but honestly, I have to be very sincere here. I would have given up on the way if it weren't for the friendly and, above all, patient Twitchers that were, there to play with me. I mean, I played on my own, of course. It was a blind playthrough. But the Twitchers supplied me with the tips on what to do when I was completely stuck or successfully lost. So I indeed needed some guidance there. I couldn't have done it alone. I mean, seriously, it showed that I'm a super noob there. Seriously. So I think that's not the only thing that Twitch gave me. There's also another side, and a great side of streaming is actually, that you have a feeling and the joy of playing in a company. So it's much, much different as if I would have played at home alone. I had a feeling I'm playing with people together. So that was very nice. Very relaxing, actually, to know there is someone who can watch out for you. So I had like my gang in the game and my gang in the Twitch. So yeah, I was safe, sure enough. Anyway, if I can say, all in all, Fallout 2 is really a cool game, seriously. I think it's not called the classic and being adored around the world for nothing. So I deeply recommend it to anyone. And the fact that it was made in previous millennium, well, actually doesn't have that much... it does not affect its appearance that much, although the graphics could be better, of course, but still, I think it's rather good, It's good enough, and it's supported by such a good music that creates excellent atmosphere every time it has to, It's perfect in each moment that it's placed in. So I think they did a lot with the music and sound effects and the dialogue. So, first of all, those characters that are voiced are very good. Seriously, I think I would deeply appreciate if all of the main characters that you talk to would be voiced. Because then you actually feel like you are... It makes it more real. But also, I sincerely like the story, and the characters they have built in with the options of dialogue that you can choose from. Yeah, it could be more detailed. So especially when you choose a certain line and then you follow, the next options should be more adjusted to that. But I think it's good enough as it is. I mean, we're talking about the game developed in the previous millennium, so it's very good. And yeah, it's sci-fi, alright, but you know, with its apocalyptic after World War III plot and everything. But I don't think it's that much impossible. You can imagine it, you know. It's war, so you can imagine also the causes for the war and everything, and it gets you. So after a few first minutes, I always fell completely into it, you know. I've excluded the outside world and I for sure forgot about the time. So usually I was playing it in one go for about 3 hours, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, but 3 hours was my capacity of the brain, focused brain that I had available. So that was it for me. And well, not to go too far and to conclude. So I'm not sure if Fallout 2 is the best game to start discovering the video game world. I think they're easier games to start with. But it definitely persuaded me to go in and try some more, you know? So here I am. I've already started Fallout 1 and I think I'm gonna continue with Fallouts because I like them. Seriously, I think they're quality game stuff. So I'm gonna continue with that, and I also added Final Fantasy 7. But yeah, if you ever had any second guess, you know, whether to try Fallout 2 or not, yeah, just go for it. Seriously, you'll like it probably. I mean, I thought I'll hate it, but I liked it in the end. So yeah, there. I'm successfully lost, and you know, I'll go on dying and reloading me myself in the games, and yeah, I'm heading out for the next video adventures, and you can join me on them. Bye!